Hello everyone. On today's episode of the One New Life Challenge, we're going to talk about solving any problem using this 5-step problem solving technique that was taught to me by the great, amazing Tony Robbins. Hello everyone. As mentioned in the intro, we're going to go through a 5-step technique to solve any problem in your life. Whether you're thinking about your relationships right now and you want to get an answer, whether it's career, whether it's your health, there's a way to tackle problems that depowers them and empowers you. Now, our normal cognitive thinking, which is to ruminate, recycle, which is OCD, have that thought keep ticking over until we just agree upon whatever voice is answering that at the right time. We go, well, I believe that voice, just not that voice. Yep, that voice sounds good. That's a little bit schizophrenic if you ask me. And as always, I'm going to start with a quote on this topic, and the quote is, "We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we use to create them." Albert Einstein. Now, we all know Albert Einstein was an incredible genius, and he was a big believer, especially at the times that he lived. You had Nazi Germany, he went through World War I, he went through World War II, and he understood that the way we tackled problems and the anger and the frustration they created directly caused more problems, and we'd never solve them. So how do we get past this? How do we create real solutions to our problems rather than just manifesting bigger ones or repressing them? So I'm going to start with a story. Now, this story is about a golfer. And I'm going to be that golfer because I want to illustrate that story, right? So I'm playing golf. And I don't play golf, but I understood, especially early in my business career, that all these rich people were playing golf and they called it networking. I knew networking was important, so I had to learn golf. And I would go out and it was fairly strong, so what I'd like to do is just smash that ball into infinity and beyond. And in my head, it seemed like a great concept, but what would happen is I would hit the ball, I'd hit it hard, but it would just go that way. And it would go that way. And I had some power behind me, which was even worse because it was going a long way that way, which means I had to go a long way back to get it. So I had a golf instructor, and he would teach me about where the stance, the appropriate situation, and how to hit the ball. And I followed his advice. And what would happen was I would take all his advice in, smash the ball, and it would go the wrong way. And he would keep going back, going, listen, you're moving your head up, your posture's wrong, and he was very, very helpful. Until eventually, like anything, I got frustrated. I said, listen, mate, every time I hit the ball, it goes that way. I just don't think this is for me. I use different skills. I played basketball in my life. Golf's just not for me. It's for old men. He said, well, you're almost there. And I go, I'm almost there, am I? Well, I don't think I'm almost there because I'm hitting the ball just as badly as I was a couple of weeks ago. And he said, this far from getting it perfect. And I go, this far? And I go, I don't think so. I think that you need to watch me and see how this ball is not this far, but 200 meters off the pace. He goes, no. He goes, if this was the ball, you're hitting it just there, and all you need to do is hit it just there, and it'll be perfect. And it was a great comment because instantly I reframed. Instead of saying, look at this external coordinates, everything's just too hard, I went, I just need to really move a few millimeters from where I am to get the result I want. So it's not as big, it wasn't a bigger problem as it had to be. It was simply a few millimeters. And isn't that true of life? Sometimes you just need to change the smallest things and the end result is massive. So problems that come into your life. So problems are ways to test. Hold on, let me see. Yep, if you've got a pulse, you've got problems. And as a divine entity, you're a problem-solving machine. You bring problems into reality like the yin and yang of the Taoist symbol. We must have problems as a solution to create flux, to create the life force energy around us. And problems are interesting because you will get to a level, especially as we get to later in this 1 year transformation challenge, to understand that there is no problem outside thought. Today we're going to go through some thought process to solve problems, but ultimately we won't even need that by the end of this. And I illustrate that best by koans. Koans are questions, riddles asked by Zen masters to students that have no answer. And what Zen students learn from months, years sometimes, of trying to answer riddles with no answers is that the thought exists in your head The problem exists in your head and the solution exists in your head. Therefore, it's carbon neutral, right? It's net. So just don't think about the problem. Then you don't have to worry about the solution, and then you don't have to worry about the whole issue. Act spontaneously from where you are, and the answer that you give will always be right. I spoke to my friend, we were on the beach yesterday, went for a walk, and a lot of great things happened. It was just this incredible, perfect day. I have a lot of perfect days, but this was one to remember. And we were talking about doing something, and he said, I don't know if we should do that. And I go, well, we definitely shouldn't now because we've thought about it. But if you did it from your spontaneous nature without thinking, you're in line with the way things are, and ultimately it will never be a problem because you didn't think about it, so you don't have to think about it being a problem later. That's nice, and we'll get there. For today, those big issues in your life that you want to really resolve to move forward can be resolved through these 5 steps. So the first step is you've got this. Well, you've got the problem, right? The first step is to ask yourself a question about this problem. And the first step is, what's great about this problem? That's the first problem-solving question. Now, the brain's a funny machine, and it's just a machine. Your spirit and your mind are more than your brain, but your brain's a machine. And it takes the information it has and spits out an answer. And the information you give it is very important. So when people say, I've got this terrible problem, your brain's like, oh, a terrible problem. Okay, I deal with terrible problems by releasing stress. So let's get the stress going, let's get the anxiousness going, and now give me that problem. But when you come to the brain with something, what's great about this problem, your brain will find an answer. Your brain is just an answer-finding machine. If it doesn't know the answer, it makes it up. So by framing what's great about this problem, your brain is instantly in a better solving state. And the reality is that all problems have something great about them. Well, an example would be, if your problem was that you're unhealthy, what's great about this problem could be, if I solve this, I'll be healthy, I'll feel better, and I'll love myself. You can see what's great about this problem very simply. If it's a relationship issue, I'm in a bad relationship, what do? What's great about this problem? The answer would be, when I sort this out, I'll have 2 outcomes. I'll either fix it and make it a loving relationship, or I'll be able to find the new love of my life. They're all great outcomes, right? The second part, what's not perfect yet? Now that's also a presupposition. So when you look at your health, let's say the health is the issue, what's not perfect yet means that whilst you have to list all the negative things that you're up to, the presupposition is that they will be perfect. It's just a matter of knowing what they are to make them perfect. Isn't that true? If you don't really look at what's wrong, you can never hope to solve it. Number 3, this is where we start. Taking some personal accountability for manifesting the divine essence of you and collapsing the waveform into the reality we currently see. And that is, number 3, what am I willing to do to make it the way I want? What are you willing to do? There is balance in the universe, and if you want to change something, you've got to take action. So what are you willing to do to make those changes necessary? Number 4, what am I willing to no longer do in order to make the changes necessary? Now this is just as big as the last question. There are things you are doing which you have to sacrifice. When you want to be healthy, you've got to stop eating donuts. Well, at least a lot, not every day you can't eat donuts, right? So you've got to give up things. And they're just as powerful. The things you do and the things you give up are all about getting you to the right place. Number 5, and this is my favorite question. How can I enjoy the process while I do what's necessary to make it the way I want? How can I enjoy the process? Wow, what a great question. For example, with me and my health, how can I enjoy the process? Well, I'll go for a swim at the beach after I do a workout, or I'll have a spa or a sauna or a steam room. I love that stuff. And by combining it to things which, initially anyway, working out wasn't a lot of fun, I made it into a fun event. If it's not fun and you don't enjoy it, you won't continue it. Otherwise it's self-flagellation. In the Middle Ages, those blokes used to whip themselves walking around going, I'm going to whip myself because I don't know what they were hoping to achieve, but it has to be, that wasn't fun, it didn't last. You don't see blokes whipping themselves anymore. That's a great example, Brad. It came from the moment. We don't do that anymore because it's not fun. It's got to be fun. You've got to find a fun way to do it. These 5 problem-solving techniques, and I'll list them below, you take those big problems in your life, you apply this chunking, breaking down process, which this is from Tony Robbins. This guy he's the best when it comes to getting to understand the root of modern day problems. We'll fix them. It's that simple. I've applied this in my life to many areas, and you know what? I had fun in the process of fixing them. So many times we toil away at these problems. They don't need to be. We can have a whole lot of fun with these problems, which are just solutions in reverse. The end is the beginning repeating, and a solution is a problem at its end, and a problem is a solution at its beginning. It's that simple. Let's get these problems, let's knock them on their ass, and let's continue, because I can't wait to see you tomorrow with one less problem. Until then, goodbye.